The owner of a struggling diner hired a man. Tired, she took a week off, and when she returned, she couldn't recognize her diner. At the Sunset Diner, every cup of coffee tells a story of love and hope. Sarah, determined to preserve the legacy of a place full of memories, finds an ally in the enigmatic Jack. Sarah was a woman in her early 30s, with a generous heart and an impressive inner strength. Every morning, she woke up early to help Mr. Thomas, an 80-year-old man confined to a wheelchair. Her routine began with preparing a simple yet delicious breakfast consisting of scrambled eggs, toast, and fresh coffee. The aroma of coffee filled the small house, creating a cozy and familiar atmosphere. Sitting on the porch, they shared long conversations. Sarah was always captivated by Mr. Thomas's life stories, which ranged from his youthful adventures to the glory days of the diner he and his late wife founded, the Sunset Diner. "You know, Sarah," Mr. Thomas would say with a nostalgic glimmer in his eyes, "my wife and I put our souls into that place. Every recipe, every detail was an extension of our love." The Sunset Diner was more than just a business to Mr. Thomas. It was a treasure chest of happy memories. Though Sarah had never met his wife, she felt her presence in every corner of the diner. She marveled at the stories Mr. Thomas shared, the care they took in choosing the name, and how they decorated the space with old photos and meaningful objects. "She had a way of making every customer feel special," Mr. Thomas fondly recalled. "And I just followed her lead." Sarah's day was filled with various tasks. She helped Mr. Thomas with his daily needs and cared for the diner. She would help open the establishment, clean the tables, and sometimes serve the few customers who still frequented the place. The diner had seen better days, but now, with Mr. Thomas aging and no active management, business was dwindling. Sarah felt a deep sadness seeing the decline of the Sunset Diner, but also a growing responsibility to preserve it. Despite the challenges, Sarah found satisfaction in her work. She felt she was giving back some of the kindness she had received throughout her life. Having lost her parents at a young age and caring for her elderly aunt, Sarah knew what it was like to face hardships. These experiences shaped her resilient and compassionate nature. "Life can be tough," she would say to Mr. Thomas, "but what matters is what we do with the cards we're dealt." One afternoon, while having tea, Mr. Thomas revealed something surprising to Sarah. He decided it was time for her to understand the true value of the Sunset Diner. With a melancholic smile, he took her to the basement of the establishment, where there was a small room. There, in a wooden box, was an old, worn-out book titled A Successful Diner. Mr. Thomas explained that the book contained all the secrets and strategies he and his wife had used to make the diner a success in its heyday. "Sarah, I want you to have this book. It might guide you if you ever decide to take over this place," he said, handing her the book with trembling hands. Sarah was moved and confused. She hadn't known Mr. Thomas trusted her so much. But before she could express her gratitude, he continued, "In my will, I left the Sunset Diner to you. You're the closest person I have now, and I know you'll care for it with the same love my wife and I did." His words left her speechless. She had always felt a special connection to the place, but had never imagined she would become its new owner. She felt a mixture of emotions, responsibility, honor, and a bit of fear. The diner meant so much to Mr. Thomas, and Sarah knew it would be a challenge to uphold its legacy. "I don't know if I'm ready for this," Sarah murmured, looking at the book in her hands, "but I'll do my best to honor you both." Over time, the responsibility placed on Sarah began to weigh on her. Mr. Thomas, increasingly frail, needed constant care, and the Sunset Diner desperately needed a makeover to survive. At first, Sarah continued her daily routine, splitting her time between caring for Mr. Thomas and keeping the diner running. But it soon became clear that more drastic measures were necessary. The few customers who still visited the diner were mostly regulars, people who appreciated the nostalgia and personal connection with Mr. Thomas. However, Sarah knew that wasn't enough to sustain the business. "We need a change, something to attract new customers," she thought, feeling the weight of declining finances and Mr. Thomas's mounting medical bills. On lonely nights, she flipped through the book, A Successful Diner, searching for inspiration. Understand your customers, offer a unique menu, Create a welcoming atmosphere, she read aloud, absorbing each piece of advice. Sarah felt inspired but also fearful. She had never run a business before, and the idea of failure was frightening. But how can I do this alone? Where will I find the resources? How will I learn to manage a business? She wondered, feeling overwhelmed. It was during this period of uncertainty that Jack appeared. He was a simple-looking man with a commanding presence. He arrived at the diner one quiet afternoon, asking for a job. "I can cook a little and I'm good at cleaning," he said with an unassuming smile. Aware of her financial limitations, Sarah hesitated. "I can't pay you right now," she admitted, feeling a bit embarrassed. But Jack seemed determined. "Let me work for a week on trial." "No commitment," he insisted, his confidence almost disarming Sarah. Against her own expectations, Sarah agreed. And Jack quickly proved indispensable. He had a natural ability to interact with customers, making them feel valued. "You're a good listener," commented an elderly customer, smiling at Jack as he served her. He also suggested small changes to the menu and table arrangement, which began to bring in new customers. Sarah watched, intrigued, as the diner slowly came back to life. Curious about Jack's past, Sarah began asking questions. "You seem to know a lot about the business," she remarked one night as they closed the diner. Jack just smiled, and after a pause, revealed, "I was a close friend and business partner of Mr. Thomas. He asked me to come help you." The revelation left Sarah surprised and a bit embarrassed for not recognizing the connection earlier. With Jack by her side, Sarah began to feel a shift, not just in the diner but also within herself. She started to believe she could face the challenges that lay ahead. However, the uncertainty of how Jack truly fit into her life and the future of the Sunset Diner still lingered in her mind. "Am I ready for all of this?" she wondered as she looked at the empty diner after closing. The Sunset Diner began to flourish under the joint management of Sarah and Jack. Together, they revamped the menu, keeping the sentimental classics, like the apple cinnamon pancakes, which became an instant hit among both new and old customers. "It's like traveling back in time," remarked a regular customer, savoring the pancakes. They also introduced innovative dishes, attracting a younger and more diverse clientele. Sarah started engaging more with the local community, organizing events like poetry nights and live music performances. These events not only brought new customers, but also helped foster a sense of community around the diner. "It's nice to have a place where everyone feels welcome," said a young poet after one of his performances. The Sunset Diner became a gathering spot for different groups, creating bonds and memories. During this time, the friendship between Sarah and Jack grew. They worked side by side, sharing laughs and confidences. Jack, always eager to help, taught Sarah about inventory management, cost control, and marketing strategies. "You have a natural talent for this," he would compliment her, encouraging her to trust more in her own abilities. Sarah, in turn, began to see Jack as more than just a colleague. She saw him as a friend and mentor, someone she could fully rely on. However, there was a part of Jack that remained mysterious to Sarah. He rarely spoke about his past or what brought him back to town. One night, after a charity event, Sarah finally asked, "Jack, why did you decide to come back and help Mr. Thomas and me? What happened in your life that brought you here?" Jack stayed silent for a moment before replying, "I had a good life, Sarah, but after losing my wife, I lost myself too. Mr. Thomas believed I could find a new purpose here, helping you bring the Sunset Diner back to life." This revelation added a new depth to their relationship. Sarah shared her own stories of loss and resilience, and the two connected on a deeper level. Jack's vulnerability, something he rarely showed, made Sarah realize how much he meant to her. Yet, she hesitated to explore these feelings, afraid of complicating their friendship and professional partnership. "It's better to keep things as they are," she thought, though her heart whispered otherwise. Meanwhile, the Sunset Diner continued to thrive. With Jack's ideas and Sarah's dedication, they implemented a loyalty program for customers and used social media to promote the diner. "Our business is growing every week," Sarah excitedly noted, thrilled with the results. The diner's new popularity made her consider the possibility of expanding. Jack suggested opening a second location in a nearby neighborhood known for its vibrant, youthful atmosphere. We could reach a whole new audience there, he argued, and Sarah began to see the potential in the idea. Still, Sarah felt overwhelmed by the idea of expansion. She needed to secure funding and find the perfect location while juggling her emotions for Jack and the responsibility of keeping the original diner running. Am I ready to take this next step? She wondered, feeling the pressure of her new responsibilities. Determined to expand the Sunset Diner, Sarah and Jack found the perfect spot for a new branch. The neighborhood was lively, full of young people and families, exactly the kind of crowd they wanted to attract. However, the financial challenges were significant. Sarah needed a substantial loan to cover the costs of renovation and opening the new location. It's a big risk, she confessed to Jack, but I feel like it's the right move. Ever the pragmatist, Jack helped Sarah prepare a detailed business plan. We need to show we know what we're doing and that there's a demand for what we offer, he explained as they reviewed the numbers. Though nervous, Sarah trusted Jack's judgment. With his help, they secured a meeting with a local bank. Let's impress them, Jack said with an encouraging smile. The presentation was a success. Sarah and Jack were articulate and clear about their intentions, and the bank agreed to grant the loan. Congratulations, you made this happen, Jack said, hugging Sarah after the meeting. She felt a mix of relief and excitement. With funding secured, the renovation work began. Sarah immersed herself in the process, choosing every detail of the decor and overseeing the construction. I want this place to be an extension of the original, but with a modern touch, she told Jack as they discussed paint colors and furniture designs. As the opening day of the new location approached, Sarah began to feel exhausted. The pressure of managing 2 diners, handling financial concerns, and maintaining service quality was taking a toll on her health. Jack noticed her fatigue. You need a break, Sarah. Take a week off after the opening, he suggested. Reluctantly, but realizing the need, Sarah agreed. You're right, I need time to recharge, she admitted. The grand opening of the new location was a huge success. The place was packed with new customers, and the energy in the air was electric. Sarah felt an enormous sense of accomplishment as she saw the results of her hard work. However, she knew she needed rest. With Jack taking over the management of both diners, Sarah left for a week of vacation, fully trusting her friend and business partner. Take good care of our baby, she joked, leaving the diner in Jack's capable hands. During her vacation, Sarah had time to reflect on everything that had happened. She thought about her journey, from her days as a volunteer to becoming a successful businesswoman. I did it, she thought, feeling a wave of pride. But she also thought a lot about Jack and the complexity of her feelings for him. I'm in love with him, she admitted to herself, but wasn't sure how to approach the subject without complicating their work dynamic. When Sarah returned, she was surprised to see the improvements Jack had made to the original diner. He had reorganized the space, introduced a new ordering system, and revamped the decor. You've done an amazing job, she said, genuinely impressed. The diner was busier than ever, and the vibrant atmosphere was contagious. However, Sarah felt a twinge of jealousy and insecurity. Is he more important to the success than I am? She wondered, struggling with her emotions. As the Sunset Diner thrived, Sarah wrestled with her insecurities. Jack's successful management during her absence made her question her own role in the diner's success. Maybe I'm not as essential as I thought, she reflected. Determined to confront these doubts, Sarah decided to improve her management skills. If I'm going to be a good leader, I need to understand every aspect of the business, she thought, signing up for workshops and reading books on entrepreneurship. Jack noticed the change in Sarah and supported her fully. You're doing the right thing, he said, encouraging her to trust her instincts. Over time, Sarah began to feel more confident in her decisions and abilities. She and Jack continued to work together harmoniously, sharing the leadership of the business. Their mutual respect and admiration only grew, forming a solid foundation for whatever challenges lay ahead. At the same time, Sarah and Jack's personal relationship evolved. They started spending more time together outside of work, exploring new hobbies and enjoying each other's company. Jack revealed a lighter, more playful side of himself, and Sarah discovered he had a sharp sense of humor. "I never knew you were so funny," she teased, laughing at one of his jokes. Their friendship deepened, but both hesitated to turn it into something more, afraid of risking their solid professional partnership. Finally, on a quiet night, Jack decided to be honest. They were sitting in the park where Mr. Thomas used to take them to talk and relax. "Sarah," he began, gently holding her hand, "I know our friendship is important, and I don't want to complicate things. But I have to be honest. I love you." Sarah was surprised and deeply moved. Jack's words resonated in her heart, and she realized she felt the same. "I love you too, Jack," she replied, her eyes filled with tears of joy. That moment marked the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. As a couple, Sarah and Jack found a new depth in their relationship that transcended their professional realm. They continued expanding the Sunset Diner, opening a third location and starting to plan a fourth. "We're building something special," Sarah said, feeling more fulfilled than ever. Their partnership, now in both business and life, was strong and full of love. The Sunset Diner had become a symbol of resilience, love, and community. Sarah and Jack not only managed a successful business, but they also created a welcoming space where people felt at home. "This place is more than just a diner," remarked a regular customer. "It's a gathering spot, a place where we feel part of something bigger." As time passed, Sarah and Jack sought ways to give back to the community that had supported them. They started a youth training program, offering young people the chance to learn about the food and beverage industry. "We want to give others the opportunity to grow and find their path," Jack explained during a local media interview. They also organized community events and fundraisers, using the diner as a hub for support and connection. The expansion of the Sunset Diner continued to flourish. Each new location maintained the warm spirit and quality that made the original so successful. Sarah, now a confident and accomplished businesswoman, looked back on her journey with gratitude. "It's been a long road," she reflected, "but every step was worth it." She had found love, purpose, and a community that became an extension of her family. Jack, for his part, found a new family and home at the Sunset Diner. He had turned his grief into a source of strength, helping create an environment where everyone felt welcome. "I'm happy to have finally found a place where I belong," he told Sarah on one of the many nights they closed the diner together. In an intimate ceremony, Sarah and Jack were married in the park where it all began. Surrounded by friends, family, and members of the community, they vowed to continue their journey together. Mr. Thomas, present in spirit, would have been proud to see the love and joy that had blossomed at the Sunset Diner. "I think he's smiling right now," Sarah said, looking up at the starry sky. Thus, the Sunset Diner was more than just a place to eat. It was a place of stories, love, and hope. Sarah and Jack, with their dedication and passion, had turned the diner into a living legacy of kindness and resilience. And as they looked toward the future, they knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would always have each other and the community they had built to support and celebrate their successes.